And I know that some people might be saying, but hold on a second. If we slow down public deployment of AIs, aren't we just going to lose to China? And honestly, we want to be very clear. All of our concerns, especially on social media as well, we want to make sure we don't lose to China. We would actually argue that the public deployment of AIs, just like social media that were unregulated, that incohered our society, are the things that make us lose to China. Because if you have an incoherent culture, your democracy doesn't work. It's exactly the sort of unregulated or reckless deployment that causes us to lose to China. Now, when we asked our friends, how would you think about this question? They said, well, actually, right now, the Chinese government considers these large language models actually unsafe because they can't control them. They don't ship them publicly to their own population.
Yeah. They quite literally do not trust they can't get their golems to not talk about Tiananmen Square. In the same way that Snapchat is unable to get their ChatGPT, their golem, to not be persuaded into grooming a child.
And that slowing down the public release of AI capabilities would actually slow down Chinese advances too. Now, Aza, I think you should explain this because why would it be the case that slowing down public releases would slow down Chinese?
So what we've heard from, as we've interviewed many of the AI researchers, that China is often fast following what the US has done. And so it's actually the open source models that help China advance. So here's an example. So Facebook released their Golem pre-trained foundation model 13 days ago. And they had a sort of perfunctory form that you'd fill out to make sure it's only going to researchers, but they didn't do a great job of it. And within days, it was leaked to the internet, and in particular to 4chan, which is the very worst part of the internet, the very part of the internet you do not want to have access to creating arbitrary content. So this is sort of what happens when we start to decentralize, and of course it's the thing then that helps China catch up and get access to this kind of thing.
And then lastly is that the recent US export controls have also been really good at slowing down China's progress on advanced AI, and that's a different lever to sort of keep the asymmetry going. You can still do your research as fast as possible. You can just not do as much public deployment and still maintain your lead over China. So the question that we have been asking, literally everyone that we get on the phone with who's an AI safety person or AI risk person, is simply this. What else that should be happening that's not happening needs to happen, and how do we help close that gap? And we don't know the answer to that question. We are trying to gather the best people in the world and convene the conversations. And this really has been the motivating question because...
Well, and just to say on that Facebook example, two solutions that have been proposed to us are one, like KYC, know your customer. So before you get access to a new model, you have to know, you as a company have to know who you're giving it to. And two, sort of liability or in parental loci. That is to say that if you're going to release an alien, just like a child, if it goes and breaks something in the supermarket, you have to pay for it. That if you're a Facebook or whoever's making the models, if it gets leaked and it's used, then you should be responsible for it. And this is so important to start thinking about now because even bigger AI developments are coming. They're going to be coming faster than we think possible. They're going to be coming faster than even those of us who understand exponentials understand. This is why we've called you here. It's this moment of remember that you were in this room when the next 10xing happens and then the next 10xing happens after that, so that we do not make the same mistake we made with social media. So I think we'll sort of return to the very beginning of this presentation, which is, with social media, we had a moment before entanglement. Don't you wish you could go back before it was entangled with society, that we did something about it? That is this moment in history right now. We are them, then, now. It is up to us collectively. That when you invent a new technology, it's your responsibility as that technologist to help uncover the new class of responsibilities, create the language, the philosophy, and the laws, because they're not going to happen automatically. that if that tech confers power, it'll start a race, and if we do not coordinate, that race will end in tragedy.